In a public-private partnership mode about 2 decades ago or more. In fact, Wharton, Kellogg's, and the then government of Andhra Pradesh came together, created this brilliant institution. Now it is in fact ranked above most of our IIMs. In fact, it is ranked among one of the best business schools in the world. So I have to tell you that you've chosen to spend your time wisely, firstly. Secondly, let me also quickly point out, we're a new state in India. We are the newest, youngest state in India. We were formed about 8 years ago on the 14th, in 2014, on the 2nd of June. I'm sure you're all familiar with the process of formation of new states. So this state came about, in fact, after a protracted struggle for decades. In our country, since I'm speaking off the record, I hope I'm not. In our country, of course, as you know, there isn't any scientific rationale for the formation of new states. At one point of time, it was a linguistic basis. Later on, it became something else. But mostly, it's a political decision, the formation of a new state. So when the current Chief Minister, our Honorable Chief Minister, who was the then leader of the agitation for separate statehood, he always used to, basically mention three things. He used to say that once the state is formed, you will see that it is not only a self-sufficient state, it would be a surplus state. It would continue to excel on numerous fronts, including development, welfare, etc. So in the last 8 years, in fact, we'll be completing 8 on the 2nd of June, about a couple of months from now, or a month from now, in fact, or less than a month, rather. What has Telangana done? If I have to put it in a nutshell and tell you what we've done, I'd say three things. I'll tell you three statistics, that kind of tell a story by themselves. The per capita of Telangana in 2014 was 1,24,000 rupees. Today, 7 years later, it is 2,78,000 rupees. So a whopping increase of almost 128%. The GSDP of Telangana back in 2014 was 5,06,000 crores. Today it is 11.55 lakh crores. Telangana is geographically 11th largest in the country. We are 12th largest in India in terms of population, but we are the 4th largest contributor to India's economy. In fact, this is not my numbers, my statistics. These are statistics issued by Reserve Bank of India, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, and another statistic that will kind of tell you how well Telangana has done. We are only 2.5% of India in terms of population, but our contribution to India's GDP is 5%. We're literally punching double our weight. That's what Telangana has done. Now, how did this happen? What has Telangana done differently? Some things that we have done have never been done in India, in independent India. 75 years of independence is what it would be the 15th of this August, as all of us are aware. Some things that we have done have never been done. We talk about Chinese execution. We talk about how well China has executed, how quickly have they done their infrastructure projects, etc. In Telangana, I don't know how many of you are aware, since you represent India across the world, I would like to point this out to you. If you please pull out your phone and type in the Google, please sir, if you can. World's largest lift irrigation project. World's largest lift irrigation project. Well, this gentleman doesn't like to type. He actually wants to speak to his phone. They give the same results. I know. I'm aware, sir. So that has been done by Kaleshwaram project, is the world's largest lift irrigation project, completed, commissioned within 4 years, all executed by government of Telangana. We are lifting water from 82 meters above sea level and lifting it through a multi-stage lift irrigation system all the way to 618 meters. The land that we are sitting on right now in Hyderabad is at 535 meters above sea level. So this project, this gigantic project, has been started in 2014-15 and has been completed by 2019-20. So that's the speed at which Telangana government has been able to execute and deliver projects. By the way, I must add, we had zero help from Government of India on this one. There's no contribution whatsoever from Government of India, but that's a different story. I'll save it for later. The other thing we have done, in fact, you guys were just mentioning about Hyderabad. Hyderabad, in fact, is that unique city in India. It's the 5th largest city in India in terms of population. It's one of the most progressive cities. In fact, I keep telling people, Hyderabad is a little melting pot where the north of India meets the south of India, where biology meets technology, where life sciences marries data sciences. That is Hyderabad for you. Because if you look around, Hyderabad is, in fact, since we are still in the midst of a pandemic, I have to mention this to you. Hyderabad, in fact, is home, I don't know how many of you know this again, to 1/3 of human vaccine production. Globally, 27 billion vaccines are produced every year. 9 billion actually are produced from Hyderabad. So we are the vaccine capital not of India, but we are the vaccine capital of the world. And these are human vaccines I'm talking about. We have Sanofi, we have Bharat Biotech, we have Biological Avance, we have Indian Immunologicals, all of them producing 9 billion doses of vaccines every single year. We have traditionally been the bulk drugs and pharmaceuticals capital of India. We produce nearly 40% of India's pharmaceuticals. When President Trump picked up the phone and called Prime Minister Modi for hydroxychloroquine, it was Hyderabad that came to the rescue of India and also the rest of the world as well. So Hyderabad has been very, very strong by virtue of its legacy, by virtue of its ecosystem in terms of life sciences. Now, our government, under the leadership of our Chief Minister, in fact, is taking it a couple of notches higher. We are building the world's largest single pharma cluster in very close to the Hyderabad airport, about 28 kilometers south of it, in about 19,000 acres. It's the single largest pharma cluster in the world. We already have an environmental clearance, an en masse clearance, and we already have a demand that is more than the land we can actually offer. And it will be the world's single largest pharma cluster. We have done things on a scale. I just told you about the world's largest lift irrigation project. I'm going to mention to you about a bunch of other things that we have done, which make us truly proud. If you go around the city of Hyderabad today, you will see that some of the marquee names in information technology have made this their largest base. Amazon, is a company that is very, very well known. I'm sure most of you speak to Alexa at home. Amazon's world's largest campus is not in Seattle, it is in Hyderabad. And just to add to that list, marquee list, Google, Qualcomm, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft, Salesforce, ServiceNow, Micron, all of their second largest base anywhere in the world outside of their headquarters is right here in Hyderabad. Novartis, again, second largest base outside of Basel, is in Hyderabad. Now, in case you're wondering, is this all low-end KPO, BPO kind of work? No. We are doing cutting-edge technology. In fact, Google Maps, the latest version was developed right here. Facebook's entire VR program was done here. And the list goes on. It's a huge. Micron is another very large chip-making company. Their second largest base in the world is here. Medtronic. I'm sure most of you are familiar about Medtronic. Medtronic's second largest base in the world is right here. So the list goes on. It's a huge, huge list of companies that we've been able to attract. How did this happen? Our Honorable Chief Minister has been leading from the front. A couple of you were asking me a while ago, what do you guys do in terms of a single window, ease of doing business, etc. In 2014 November, we came out with the first legislation in the new government of Telangana. It was called TS iPass. TS stands for Telangana State. iPass stands for Industrial Project Approval Self-Certification System. Any investor in Telangana, if you would like to set up a factory or an office, you actually don't need to speak to us. If you have a piece of land that you've allocated or that you've bought or has been allocated to you, you can hit the ground running. You can start construction of your factory on day one. You don't need any clearance from the state government or the municipality or the Gram Panchayati. And this is backed by statute. Just like how right to information is a right given to the citizen, just like how right to education is a right given to the children, the students, we have conferred a right on the investor. We said you can self-certify yourselves as being in compliance with the law of the land. And you can start construction on day one. No other state in India, and in fact, when I was in US, I met with the chairman of KPMG and I was mentioning to him that no state in India will offer you this. He smiled and he said, no state in the United States also will offer you this. So that's the kind of policy making we've done. The second thing we do, besides giving you self-certification access and self-certification privilege, we also request, since we need to know who is doing business in our state, we request that you submit an application online simultaneously on the TS iPass portal. What do we do with it when we get it? Once we understand the nature of the business, once we understand the investment potential, once we understand the employment opportunity that you're creating, we promise all clearances in 15 days. This is backed again by statute. And if we don't deliver on the 15-day window, on the 16th day, it's a deemed approval. It's an automatic approval, backed by legislation. And this is again, this was done 7 years ago. Even the most senior bureaucrats, we have the 92 batch Indian Administrative Service officer, who's my principal secretary, who was the topper of UPSC, Jayesh Ranjan. Even he is not exempt. Even he is not exempt from a penalty of rupees 1,000 per day, should there be a delay beyond the 15-day period that is by statute. Fortunately, Jayesh has never had to pay the fine. That's a different story. In the last 7 years, in case you guys are wondering, because I know you meet a lot of, you're all career diplomats, you meet a lot of smooth talkers, you meet lots of very nice people. In case you're wondering, is this guy just BSing his way through? I'm not. In fact, we've given out more than 19,000 clearances in the last 7 years. We have been able to attract more than 2.3 lakh crore investment, create a direct job potential of 1.6 million plus jobs. Now that is the story of Telangana for you in a nutshell, in the private sector. Now, have these materialized? Because normally when you have these vibrant summits, we announce big numbers, but none of them actually translates on ground. We are not one of those vibrant states. We actually ensured that 85% of our investments that have been committed have translated into reality, have actually been operationalized. Most important facet for any administration, most important compliment for any administration, if you ask me, is repeat investments, reinforcement of faith from an existing investor, and that is where Telangana scores big. In fact, our Chief Minister keeps telling us, if you keep your existing investors happy, they are the biggest ambassadors for you anywhere in the world. 24% of my investments today in the state of Telangana are repeat investments. Just to give you one example, there's a gentleman called Sandeep Somani, who used to be the president of FICCI in the past. He runs a company called HSIL, the Hindustan Sanitary Indware Limited. He had one factory in Telangana prior to the formation of the state. Now he has 8 factories in Telangana. He added 7 more. That goes to show you how much confidence an investor has in the state. When we started our journey as a new state, we were a power deficit state. We couldn't provide power. We had to have power outages, power holidays for industries, almost 2 or 3 days a week. Now we produce we provide not only quality power to the industry, we are the only state in India which provides 24/7 free power to the farming sector as well. We provide, of course, quality power to the domestic sector, industry, and also the farming sector. In the last 7 years, I mentioned to you, our GSDP has risen by a whopping 125%, from 5 lakh crores to 11.55 lakh crores. What is the most impressive facet about Telangana, if you ask me, is the holistic model of development. In Telangana, while you have IT growing on one hand, all the marquee companies I mentioned have contributed tremendously to our IT sector's growth. Our IT exports were at 57,000 crores of rupees in 2014. Now, as of last year, May, they were at 1,45,000 crores. Simultaneously, while IT was growing, our agriculture also has grown tremendously. Our agriculture activity has expanded by 119%. In fact, agriculture's contribution to the state's GSDP has increased from 16% to 21%. On the one hand, while industrialization has been rampant and very, very robust, our environment, in fact, environment consciousness has ensured that our green cover in the state has risen also by 7.7%. In independent India, no state has been able to match this feat. We improved our green cover from 24% to 31.7% by planting 230 crore saplings over the last 7 years through a program called Harita Haram. Now, these are unique distinctions. While we continue to win accolades on the rural development, when Sansad Adarsh Gramin Yojana awards were declared recently by Government of India, the top 10 villages, all 10 are from Telangana. Out of the top 20, 19 are from Telangana, 1 from Gujarat. And when they declare awards for the best kept towns, of course, Indore and Mysore continue to, score a bit above us, but we won 12 awards. So a holistic model where rural development, urban development go hand in hand, where industry and environment go hand in hand, where IT and agriculture also go hand in hand. Now that is the model of Telangana for all of you. That is why, in spite of despite the pandemic, despite demonetization, despite lack of support from Government of India, we have grown in the last 7 years and have become a powerhouse. According to RBI, like I pointed out, while we are smaller in size, our contribution to India's economy is fourth largest as of last year. So Telangana continues to grow and continues to attract investments. But where I seek your support, the reason why I have come to make an appeal to all of you, because you are the face of India abroad in various important investment, friendly destinations. One of the requests I have for you, each time I meet a prospective investor, they draw these very unfair and oversimplified comparisons between India and China. They say India and China, you're equal in size. China gets things done so quick, but in India, unfortunately, I had to burn my fingers, blah, 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 right? I keep telling them that that's the biggest mistake one can make, especially an investor, when you look at India. It all depends, some people say there are 2 Indias. I say there are 28 Indias. It all depends on which India that you choose to enter through. If you make Telangana your gateway into India, you'll see a very different version of India. With all due respect to anybody who's here from Uttar Pradesh, you'll see a very, very different version of India if you choose to enter through Uttar Pradesh. As simple as that. I mean, these are very different. It's like Europe. I mean, most of you who are working in Europe would understand and appreciate. It's a very, very, very different country. We are a very heterogeneous country where everything changes every 150 kilometers. The language, the dialect, the eating habits, everything changes every 150 kilometers. So my humble appeal to all of you, I know you guys spend a lot of time training in Delhi and elsewhere, and I know you've also spent some time in Delhi before coming here. Firstly, I say this as a joke on a lighter note, please don't get me wrong. Unlearn what you've learned in Delhi. Thoda bhul jaiye, or I think you have to start helping us as states. I think a bilateral engagement. Somebody was just asking me, कि स्टेट के दायरे में क्या है और बाहर क्या है, मतलब हिंदुस्तान जो यूनियन गवर्नमेंट है और बाकी हम हैं, तो राज्य के दायरे में क्या है, सेंट्रल के दायरे में क्या है. Ultimately, the policy making, of course, FDI and the overarching export-import policy, the free trade agreements, that is in the hands of Delhi and union government. But everything else other than that, of course, is very much within the domain of a state. So land, water, power, incentives, manpower, everything that you would require to actually get up and running. I'll give you an example. I met with Intel in the US in March. They've opened a new plant in Arizona, I think about a few months ago. So the gentleman who runs Intel's foundry and the semiconductor business was telling me that all he had was one gentleman from the federal government come in, do the ribbon cutting and leave. 99.99% of my interaction on a day-to-day basis is with the state of Arizona. That's exactly what working in India is all about. Entrepreneurship, business in India is about choosing the right kind of state to enter, is about ensuring that we present the right face of India to the investor who's actually external. Because once the initial impression, the first impression, is not made, they go back thinking and reinforcing that stereotype of India as a country of snake charmers, cattle running on the streets and elephants all over the place, blah blah blah. You know it better. You've spent enough time abroad, so you know it more I think pointedly than me. My humble appeal to all of you, of course, bilateral engagements help. We do a lot of investment promotion. We travel. I'm leaving for London tomorrow, and from there we go to Davos, the World Economic Forum. We keep traveling. We keep making a pitch. But I think you are our biggest ambassador. Anybody who's looking at India, if you can potentially, my 14 important areas where I am seeking to attract investments are the usual suspects. The important ones, of course, are information technology, life sciences, logistics, food processing. We have gems and jewelry. We have aerospace and defense. Just to again give you a few numbers as to how well Hyderabad is doing and as to how the strengths of Hyderabad. I don't know how many of you know this. The largest number of US FDA approved manufacturing facilities anywhere in the world are in Telangana. The second largest number of US FDA approved units are in the state of New Jersey in the US. So that is the strength of Telangana in life sciences. We produce 1/3 of vaccines, largest number of FDA approved units, etc. So life sciences is an area, if say somebody is in Belgium, for example, you're looking at getting a life sciences company to India, or they want to expand operations, etc. this is the place to be. Again, information technology, Bangalore, for those of you who are from Bangalore, I love the city too, but literally it has gone, a bit, it has become a bit terrible over the last few years, a few decades actually. My apologies to anybody who's here from Bangalore. But the fact is, information technology, life sciences, and the points of intersection. For example, Novartis here, because the new age industry is not about the traditional way of doing business. The points of intersection. Novartis, I told you, has about 8,500 people here. They are into digital drug discovery. They don't have a manufacturing facility here. They are working, data scientists, biostatisticians, bioinformatics. We have just inaugurated a facility, a company called Irrigation. In fact, Jayesh is going there right after this. This company, in fact, was telling me just now that they will be ramping up their numbers from 8,000 to 10,000 people in the next 2 years in Hyderabad. I said, how do you do it? What is your specialty? They said, cyber forensics. I'm looking at people in cyber forensics. So these are all the new areas, I think, where we can create employment, where we can attract investment, and most importantly, the biggest strength of not just Hyderabad. I think there has been an overdose of Hyderabad and Telangana, so I'd get out of it a bit. Biggest strength of India today is our think force. 65% of India is less than the age of 35. 50% of India is less than the age of 27. Our biggest strength is them. Now, if you really have to tap into that strength, I think it goes without saying. It goes, really, we don't have to think much about it. The new innovations that are happening across the world and the kind of connectivity now Indians have, the kind of ability to reach through technology, has given a lot of aspiration, has created a great sense of aspiration among young India. So one of the huge opportunities that we can tap into, India's largest technology incubator is called T-Hub. It is right here. In fact, it's not very far from here. I'd love for you guys to actually take a quick, you're going there. But please also show them the phase 2 that will be inaugurated end of June. In fact, end of June, we are inaugurating the world's largest incubator anywhere. In fact, it's bigger than the one in Paris, the Station F. So you please have a look at it as well. And we're calling the 100 unicorn founders in India. Now that number's touched 100. We're calling all of the founders for the inauguration. So hopefully, it'll create a flutter. We are also home to India's largest prototyping facility called as T-Works. We're also home to India's only women entrepreneurship hub called as the V-Hub. So the list goes on. We've done a number of things. The government has been a fantastic enabler in this city. In fact, ISB is a partner in the T-Hub. On day 2 of me assuming office, I was here in ISB, talking to the dean then, talking to the professors, requesting them to support me in ensuring that the state gets up and starts running on the innovation piece. I can go on. I do this for a living, but I know you guys are hungry and I know you guys are spraining your necks as well. Any questions I'm happy to take, but thank you very much for coming to our city. I also hope that you'll get to spend a bit of time shopping, looking around. We have one of the best palace hotels in the world called as Falaknuma. So please do visit that as well. I don't know if you're visiting it. Please do.
He has not left any time free for us.
What's up, Dean? Where is he? Why would you do that? Now, this is not Delhi. There's nobody watching over them. They should be allowed to go scot-free and go around. Please, I urge all of you, I think you should spend more time outside, because if you go around this entire area, you'd realize that this is the face of new India. If you have to ask me, what is Hyderabad? If you have to sum up in one line, I'd say, this is the face of new India. This is the face of aspirational India. This is the, each and every time I travel outside and come back, I come back with a regret. I come back with a mixed feeling. कि हम कहाँ पीछे रह गए, हमारा क्या हो गया, मतलब 75 साल के बाद भी अभी भी बहुत चीजें, I don't want to be critical, but I keep lamenting that we've lost the plot somewhere. We still are happy talking about Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh. Well, we should be aiming at Singapore, China, and the rest, right? So my humble request to you: this is a state that is on the right track, wanting to do the right things, set the right platform. We're the only state in India that has done 100% drinking water supply coverage, a potable drinking water connection to each and every home. It's a shame that in 75 years no government has done this. It's a shame. It's a matter of collective shame for all of us on the 75th year of independence. But these are things Telangana has done. I can go on. I'll not go on. But please do go around. Please do talk to my colleagues, the ecosystem here, the enterprising entrepreneurs here. And I do hope that you will support us. Let me remind you, this is one thing, and this is one last thing, and I'll close. So I was in Paris, I think, when were we in Paris? September last year, promoting again Telangana. So I will not name the officer, but there was a foreign service officer, and I said, मुझे यार एक कंपनी चाहिए मुझे तेलंगाना में, ज़रा मुझे हेल्प करो. And because I was thinking, हमारी मोदी साहब के साथ इतना बनती नहीं है, मैं आपको सच सच बोलता हूँ. तो मैंने कहा कि ऐसा करो कि हमारा जो पॉलिटिकल एफिलिएशन है, हमारा जो मुकाबला है, हमारा जो रोज़ का तू मैं है, वो आप छोड़ो, उसको आप इग्नोर करो. आप ज़रा, because we are all in India, so of course whenever you push something, even if it comes to Telangana or adjoining state, we're still in India, right? Make in India. You know what he said? He said, sir, I work for India. I don't work just for government of India. I work for India. So my humble appeal to all of you, please, set aside any kind of political, riffraff that goes on between us. I think in the larger interest of the country, I think it's important to encourage proactive, performing states. Once again, thank you very much for this opportunity to talk to all of you.